Hello, this is Harry Paden. I am the host of Paden's Pulpit. Today is Season 1, Episode 14. The subject, National Child Abuse Prevention Month. National Child Abuse Prevention Month, the month of April. April has several designations, as does a lot of months. The month is rapidly coming to an end, but I thought it would be beneficial, especially because it deals with the most vulnerable of our population, and that is our children, to highlight a designation, a special part of the month of April, and I'll give you some history of it. But it is, again, the subject, National Child Abuse Prevention Month. It's also known as Child Abuse Prevention Month in America, because this is a national celebration to highlight and hopefully prevent child abuse. And this is an annual, it occurs once a year in the United States and throughout many other countries, and it's dedicated to raising awareness and preventing child abuse. April has been designated again Child Abuse Prevention Month, and that has been since 1983. If my math serves me correct, that's 39 years. The first National Child Abuse Prevention Month was declared by President Jimmy Carter back in 1979. The declaration was given through the efforts of Child Help founders, a group called Child Help. The founders of Child Help, Sarah O'Meara and Yvonne Fedelson. They have a group still in existence, Child Help, and they were instrumental in, bringing this to the attention of the President Jimmy Carter. 4 years later, April was formally established as the Child Abuse Prevention Month by then President Ronald Reagan. The United States Department of Health and Human Services requests that the communities throughout the United States be supportive and not just supportive, but kind of active towards the well-being of families. Families are the backbone of society. The federal government of the United States actually gives funds in support of child abuse and the cause. So if you have a group, and maybe you're a fledgling group, you're starting up, but you think it's a worthy cause, look into it. Maybe, you can receive funds for spearheading or being involved in child abuse prevention. Now, according to reports, 646,000 children, 646,000 became the victims of child abuse, and another 1,580 children died due to child abuse. It was also found that most cases could have been prevented through community support and programs. In reality, 4 million referrals were sent to child abuse prevention services agencies showing concern of abuse involving over 6 million children. So though we can do more, the numbers are still staggering. Almost 7 100,000 were the victim of child abuse. Almost 1,600 died from it. Those are staggering numbers, but in reality, 4 million people, 4 million referrals, I assume people by people, were sent to child abuse protection agencies, and it actually involved over 6 million children. So there are people out there who are willing to go the extra mile and report or make known if they suspect. Now, here's what's important, and we should just know this. What are the 10 different types of abuse? Physical abuse, that's definitely, children should not be abused physically. Domestically, you say, well, wait a minute, that's husband, wife, boyfriend. No. Domestic abuse is, abuse that involves someone who is in your domicile. Domestic. It could be your aunt, it could be your brother, it could be your mother, it could be your father. But domestic, living in the same domicile, same household, violence or abuse. Sexual abuse, of course, we know that probably is one of the number one and probably the most heinous. Psychological or emotional. Children are vulnerable, they're young, they're not capable of sometimes taking on the psychological, emotional problems of a household, parents arguing, drug abuse, the other many things that mess with your psyche, mess with your emotions, financial or material abuse, denying children the basic things, clothes, being able to bathe, food. Those are financial related things. Each parent is responsible for taking care of those needs financially and supportively. Modern day slavery, child exploitation, not just from this country but from other countries. People heinously, abuse and put into slavery young children. Discriminatory abuse, again, we know the history of that. This country, as great as it is, always had a problem with race, where one race seems to think that it is predominant and abuses races that do not look like them. So that's discriminatory abuse. Organizational or institutional abuse. That goes right into things like the school system. Why is the school up on the hill doing so much better than the school just a little below the hill? That continues to go on, and it's went on from time eternal, and people take a blind eye to it, and it's really something that it really needs to be addressed. My proposal was not just bus, but change the location. Take the kids from up the hill and put them in the places a little down the hill, and then vice versa. Send the kids from down the hill up. I bet that problem would be solved tomorrow. Again, that's just my opinion, and I'm a very opinionated person, but I bet you it would be changed tomorrow. How to report child abuse and neglect. If you have a pen, it might be good because I'll give you some information. There are a lot of ways you can report it. One of the most simple ways, where you don't really need a pen or paper, call 911. I suspect that the person next door is abusing their children. 911, can you connect me to someone that can assist me? And that should take place post, right at that point. I'm sure all 911s would address that as a serious concern. So certainly just calling 911 would take care of the problem. You could also go to the state child abuse and neglect reporting numbers. Again, just Google, whatever state you live in. Google state of New Jersey, state of Georgia, state of Delaware, child abuse hotline number, and I'm sure you'll get that. That's just how easy it is. There also is another number where you can either call or text this number, and I'll give it to you two ways. 1-800-A, the letter A like in apple, child. 1-800-A, wait a minute, I gave it wrong incorrectly. 1-800-4-A-CHILD. 1-800, the number 4-A-CHILD. The actual number is 1-800-422-4453. That number has professional crisis counselors available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in over 170 languages. Again, 1-800-422-4453. All calls are confidential. The hotline offers crisis intervention, information, and referrals to thousands of emergencies, social service, and support resources. Now, here are some of the signs, very important. Just because you see these signs does not necessarily mean it, but an accumulation of signs or just the signs may. So you should pay attention. If a child shows sudden changes in behavior at school or at home, that may be a sign. The child has not received help for medical problems brought to the parent's attention. Ma'am, did you know that your child's arm is cut? And the parent negates it or doesn't say, oh yeah, I'm taking them, something like that. Just use your common sense to know if that's your neighbor, your friend, your relative. A child has a learning problem, difficulty concentrating, other things like dyslexia. Probably didn't pronounce it correct, but I think most of you know what I'm talking about. Those could be the sign if you're not addressing it. Children struggle sometimes in school because of those type physical or psychological problems. Please be on the watch for children left without adult supervision. That's one of my pet peeves. Leaving children outside, in the park, at home by themselves. That's just not wise. So, if you know parents that are leaving or caretakers that are leaving children alone to their own devices, report it. Report it. I'm sorry, you just got to, because that's just not normal, If a child is overly compliant, very passive or withdrawn, again, as you interact with your neighbors, you just got to see those things. If a child jumps or punches or, does something like that, every time you see him, that may be the sign that that child is being abused. Those in the school system, if the child comes to school or other type, outside agencies, football coaches or basketball coaches or coaches of any general, but always comes to practice early, always stays late, and doesn't want to go home. Sign that something may be wrong at home. Is reluctant to be around a particular person. That's a honing in sign. You don't want to be around that coach. No. There's something wrong in that picture, and we just have to be the eyes and ears of the system. Certainly this one goes without saying. If a child tells you, discloses that they're being mistreated, Mr. Harry, my mother, my father, my uncle, my cousin is abusing me. You have an obligation. Again, it can be done confidentially, because this whole snitch thing and all that cornball stuff. But if that's what you feel, I'm sorry, I don't mean to denigrate it, but report it. Report it, please, to the numbers. There are signs also that you can look for in a child. A child has injuries, burns, bites, bruises, broken bones, black eyes, has what looks like fading bruises, something that was a bruise some time ago but not taken care of, other noticeable marks, after an absence from school. Again, the child always seems scared, anxious, depressed, withdrawn, or aggressive. That's another sign. Seems frightened of his or her parents and protests or cries when it's time to go home. Okay, it's a double-edged sword. To a degree, parents should have a certain respect. I wouldn't say fright of their parents. Many parents are bullies. Many parents are bullies. But remember, a kid grows bigger. That bullying can come back on you. Don't bully your kids. They're there to nurture, not bully. A child shrinks at the approach of an adult. Those kind of actions. Those are signs that we have to be conscious in this society to look for. Reports an injury by a parent or another adult. Reports it to you. My aunt is hurting, but my mama won't take me to the doctor. The final sign, abuses animals or pets. Again, I know I gave you a lot. There's a lot of information, but unfortunately, we all intelligent people. We know how to take care of those things. Look out for our children. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Even the lowest animal generally takes care of their children. Elephants, birds, ants, bees. We are given by God Almighty, at least that's what I was taught, the ability to be the superior being on earth. Nothing superior about being or abusing children. I hope this helps someone. Remember, those numbers and places, you can even text those numbers with signs of child abuse. To God be the glory. Let's protect our children today.